is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders and closet swing traders? It is your boy DJ back again. It is so good to be back. I was away for a couple days. Did one of those family vacation things that people do. But man, the whole time I missed you guys. I did. So it is good to be back, making some R's together. We will see what we could do. And I came back to a day where we had two pieces of information come out, which will help determine, at least give us a little bit more information into the stock market. Otherwise, besides that, I've been kind of a little absent from the market. Just forcefully, my wife said I couldn't trade anymore. So I only took a couple trades, probably over the last couple days, and then just got a brief summary on the market at the end of the day just to see what happened, and curiosity killed the cat type situation. But we did get the PCE numbers today. I didn't think they were that great, really at all. And then the jobless claims numbers, which again I think wasn't that great. We did get a little pop, so interpret it how you want. I kind of interpreted it as not a great, both numbers not really that strong. So we will see. We did get a little pop early on that news, and we will see what happens from there going forward. If it's, I mean, we've already pretty much fully retested, really sold back. Even the SPY at this point is under the 10 EMA. Somebody's throwing out GM, so we'll take a look at that one. GM looks like a pretty horrific gap below yesterday's low. So it's obviously, it's not on the one of the six that we trade, but we could definitely talk about it. And we could also take an official, unofficial trade if need be. But yeah, so yesterday I actually put in, so number one, downtrend, every single moving average that we have is stacked correctly bearish. We had a little bit of an attempted hammer yesterday, still closing below that 10 EMA. Red candle. If this thing gapped up, we'd be talking a little bit differently about it, but it's actually gapping below the hammer. Let me see if we can get some kind of price target on this thing. GE, oh, not GE, GM. All right, we got, so the next price target, which is not very far, and we might even hit that one in pre-market. Let me see, but we're somewhere in the 32-38 zone. So 32, yeah, we came very close to that number. That's the last one that I see. Otherwise, if we do start breaking that today, we have 31.91 and then maybe down to like 31.40 in a worst case scenario. Probably market has to continue to sell and continue with that trend for us to hit that final one. So my only concern is probably not a lot of range, but technically it's a retest gap. We are actually gapping below where any possible bull would have stepped in yesterday, and it looks decent for some kind of breakdown. Let's pull up the SPY real quick. SPY itself is, again, moved a little bit about 35 minutes ago, just based on two data points. They weren't huge key ones, but they do add to probably overall consumer sentiment, I would say, for sure. Less people working, and then the more people still afraid of inflation. Both of those don't equal a very good GM might be good morning. Yeah, actually, you know what? It probably is. Either way, it is a gap down below the hammer. It's very fair. I've been away, man. Just leave me alone. Been away. I'm getting back into it. GM could be good morning too. Spot. I was like, wow, Matt's coming in heavy with some GM in the morning. All right, so we got SPY still below key level of 375.93. I'd want to see that break if we're going to attempt a bullish move. It is, again, a retest gap. If we do break that level, so somewhere, and we actually have a decent amount of resistance here. So we have 375.93 is probably the first one. Then the next heavier one is, or not heavier, but the next one is going to be 377.05. If that breaks, then maybe we see a full-on retest of 380.07. However, right in the range, it's going to be a little bit difficult to break. You even see all the moving averages. Again, it's kind of, I'm glad we looked at GM actually. It kind of looks exactly like GM. So GM is just following kind of the SPY a little bit. We are gapping down below yesterday's hammer. The next level, if we start to really break down, which I think we might have a slow first 15 minutes, we'll see what happens because we are kind of just jammed up in between a couple different key spots. But otherwise, the market target price for the first level down will be 372.27. If we break to the downside, if we do break to the upside, I'm looking for probably about 380, somewhere in the 380 range. So we will see what happens there. Andrew says I missed that one too. I know it's all very confusing. All right. You guys want me to interpret the stock market and then also figure out GM after a 5-day week? I'm still a little sunburned too. That's going, the sun rays are still straight to my dome, right to my brain. All right, we got Qs also gapping down. The Qs, SPY is actually a retest gap. Qs are actually gap and go. So I think Qs might be a little bit weaker today. Next level down on the Qs. Again, we are still this QQQ. The Qs first level down is 279.35. So it gives us about $1 more to the downside before we might see a little bit of maybe support. And then if that one breaks, the next level down is 277.66. I'd be watching for it. And we have a little bit of a gap fill too from a couple days ago. That one would take us to 275.33. So ultimately, if we do break down, that's the general range that we're going to, that I think we get to. And again, I don't really see a lot of bullish trend, bullish reason to jump into really anything on the bullish side. I almost rather play any retest, sell higher, but again, I'll play the charts as this thing opens up. If the next 21 minutes comes and we start ripping a little bit, all good. Let's start with Tesla. Okay, Matt R is saying XOM. I know that cannot mean another thing for like good morning. That's like, I can't even figure out what that would stand for besides ExxonMobil. This is a new guy on the mic. It's a different DJ. It really is. So I feel you. Feel your vibes. Right now, Tesla inside day, so nothing crazy there. Probably so our first level that we're gonna have to beat is 675.13. If that one breaks, it's only gonna get us really to about 680. So not a lot of upside to the downside, where I probably almost want to look to short somewhere at 675.13 or at that 680. That would take us down to probably 664. Again, that's still not it's still, you can still make a couple dollars on that one, but it's not going to give us a huge move. The one I'm really watching for maybe a little bit longer term, and again, if the market does something crazy today, maybe we get down to 653. It's not a big move for Tesla. It's very possible that it hits today. But 653.06 would be my first target. And then the next untested VPOC of Tesla takes us to 633.11. So while I think we have a bunch of different levels of support that we could be holding, if the market does come down, Tesla should be able to push through that. Again, right out of the gate, probably not a good setup for 10 EMA, not yet anyway. And I think more of our risk to reward would be to the downside at this point. So I'm going to try to short that as high as possible. XOM is good morning in Russian. How am I supposed to dispute that? I don't. Maybe it actually is. All right, let's take a look at the Russian good morning real quick. We have a little bit of a retest gap. Pretty heavy sell-off yesterday. Let me see. Doug's on fire. Doug is always on fire. He puts a suit and tie on. He's ready to go to work. All right. So watch to the upside. Again, it is a retest gap. We broke through a key level yesterday at 89.02. That's yesterday's VPOC. And we were gapping below multiple other VPOCs on this one. So this is a retest gap. I don't think I would expect this one for a full on retest. I'd probably be looking for somewhere in like the 87.15 range and probably look to go short. This green line on my chart is a 89 EMA. Just from my experience of using it, relatively, that's a good bounce spot. We are, however, right below that one at this point. That would also take us right into that 87.15, 87.22. That would take us into that zone, and we could actually start to maybe finally see the Russian good morning start to crumble a little bit. Going forward, maybe a little bit longer term trend, but we still have the 10 pretty high up. We still got the 21. We're still in a bounce area a little bit. Huge volume came in on this day. We are still holding that level. And the Bulls were able to get past that point at one spot and just kind of brought right back down. So I think the trend is starting to change a little bit on almost said on Exxon morning, but that's not it. Let's see, AMD. All right, we got AMD inside day so far. Again, the trend looks weak. I believe we're at some levels. Let me just see that we kind of have to hold if you are a bull in any stretch of the imagination on AMD. No, honestly, we broke that yesterday. Yesterday was a really nice gap down. So at this point, the $80 mark, $80, we'll call it $81, but somewhere around like the 80.96 zone. That's going to be a strong now resistance. It was a very strong support for it. It does not look very good and has potential to hit $50. That's right. You heard it first. Probably like $57, something like that. 55 in that range. I don't know if that happens today, but I would not want to be leaning bullish on AMD. Again, just the higher we get to short this thing, the better opportunity it is for us. I believe we are above yesterday's. We are right at yesterday's VPOC. So we'll see. And within the last 12 seconds, me saying that actually broke down. I kind of like AMD short in every stretch of the imagination, but for a 10 EMA, not going to be a great play. It doesn't sound harsh if you refer to it in doll hairs. Yeah, very true. That is very, very true. AMZN. If you're only losing doll hairs, but like in Dumber and Dumberer, he's like, all right, give me some doll hairs. Well, I'll have it. Here's 20. Amazon, we have 107.44. Technically, we are right in the very bottom portion of yesterday, trying to hang in and survive. Let me see if I can get some targets. By the way, I was doing some because I mean vacation, but like we went to a beach, we just sat there and like I don't get it. I don't get the beach thing, but I was able to crunch some numbers. Amazon at like 60 would be fair value. So in my opinion, and that's very conservative views as far as where I would like to get in, but yeah, I think Amazon could hit like 60 would be a very good price to buy Amazon. Just saying. I think it has to come down a whole lot more. 106.29 would be my target on Amazon. We are below. Yeah, this one looks like a very, very good short. Again, 10 EMA out of the gate. So far, no, but be watching for it to break yesterday's lows to qualify. First stop on this one, 106.23. The next one is 105.65. Yeah, I would be pretty much holding all puts forever. Unless says so, saying go short. I'm not saying go short or go long. I'm just saying I could see it. You know, I wouldn't want to go long yet. I think that's what I'm saying. So I would either be short or maybe hold off on buying for a little bit. Look at that daily 10 EMA. So we actually have a daily. Can we play the daily 10 EMAs? We did put a nice daily 10 EMA in. The low of yesterday came in somewhere at 106.93. This one could be a fun one. Yeah, I think you're 100% correct. Again, we don't know what happens in the next 13 minutes for starters. And if we break down that, I mean, we have a beautiful 10 EMA. This could be a little bit of a Harame type setup. So only if this thing really breaks at 115.23 would be the level I'd be watching to say, okay, this thing is off the table. But that does look like a nice little breakdown. Sammy says, I'm looking at NVIDIA. I see you, NVIDIA. What you doing? Yeah, so again, same type of concept for 10 EMA. So far, there's nothing that qualifies for the official setups that we're taking at RLT, but yeah, pretty decent consolidation level. Honestly, where we're open up, we put in, so this is an hourly chart. We put in one big hourly candle. We did have some bullish buying come, and then we just did nothing for the rest of the day. We attempted to go bullish at the end, still staying within this little mini high wave, which is just honestly an indecision candle. So we did break down. This is a retest into it. I would be probably leaning a little bit on the short side for NVIDIA as well. And also the fact that AMD broke down yesterday doesn't really give too much solace or hope that a sister play, NVIDIA, will be able to just do something completely different than AMD. So weak for sure. If this thing gets some kind of a bounce to 153.20, that's the ideal spot to look just on a risk to reward basis to go short. So 153.20. I'll see if it gets up there. We'll see. We'll set an alarm actually. So add alert. That's the attempted spot for that short. So you're looking at 153.89. 153.89. Yeah, somewhere in that zone. Yesterday's VPOC though is a little bit higher. So I would probably set an alert. If you see a candle over there in that general range that you like, just watch it, see if it gets somewhere close to that range. It gives you a good candle setup, something like that you like. But you really shouldn't break not that you can't break 154.60, but that would be a relatively decent resistance. Sometimes with VPOCs, you do see a pop a little bit higher. Keep in mind on the hourly chart though, and again, this is going to change in 10 minutes when the market opens, but we do have the 10 EMA on a hourly chart up at 156.61. So I think that has to come down a little bit before we really start to break down. And with the pre-market and just the open today, I do expect that to drop at open as well. So we will see with non-extended hours on. But yeah, you're very, very close to the same range. I will be looking to also get interested into a short. And again, the only problem with the 10 EMA on something like this, where I would like to go in short, we're still in yesterday's range at that point. So unless we dip down real quick, but get bought up, and then that would end up putting us into the qualified zone of taking the 10 EMA on it. Let's take a look at DAL. Looks like they crashed. Okay, next. Yeah, everything looks very closely similar right now. So below yesterday's range. Last hope of support is $29 even. If we start to see $29 breakdown, not good. But watch that $29 level for some kind of a bounce or some kind of support. Again, that would be pretty much the last spot for hope on on Delta before we start to really pick up some selling. Amazon, we just looked at. Apple. Apple might have a little bit of support somewhere at 136.62. Right above it is 137.72. And then to the downside, Apple also has 136.14 and 135.87. So we're starting to pull it. We have a little bit of a bigger support under us for Apple. Apple out of the gate yesterday, I think, had a decent day, and then just ended up flipping and reversing. I think there was a couple other tickers that you guys threw out. Airbnb, ABNB. Yeah, still looks very similar. Back below, we attempted to get back above 100. ABNB. VPOC wise looks horrible. Looks horrible. Tony says, how would you buy puts for 2 or 3 months? How long would you buy? So I think well, number one, I think you're talking about Amazon, or I would even say AMD as well. Both of those look like they have a bigger downside, so I'm not sure exactly which one you're talking about, but usually I'm looking for about 6 months out in time. So I would be buying about 6 months, because you could have some wild plays in between. Like in bear markets, you do see some relatively bullish moves. So keep that in mind, where you don't want theta eating your position. So I personally would go about 6 months out just to give myself some time. Yep, Amazon, AMD, NVIDIA all have potential to come down a little bit more. Airbnb, so watch the level of 93.13. That would be the spot I'd be looking to short. I'd also probably be looking to have stop somewhere around 94.93. But right now, yeah, looks very, very weak. We are below a lot of pretty much all VPOCs ever. So all of that's going to now act as some type of resistance. We have a little tiny bit of volume somewhere around 92.07. That's going to be the level that if I was anywhat bullish and I needed to save my position, I'd be pumping it there. But besides that point, I mean, there's really nothing else. Really nothing else I would say for Airbnb except for lean short. Would AMD qualify for 10 EMA since it broke the lows in pre-market? No, it only depends on where it opens at. It's a good question. So yeah, it doesn't matter so much where it's moving pre-market. It's just where it opens. And those are the official rules. If you've back tested, back traded, and you've noticed, hey, if it breaks lower, that's a good buy spot, and I have a high win ratio, all that stuff. Just with the official rules, as far as what Jeremy back tested, back traded, it only counts where it actually opens. So it has to open below or higher than yesterday's range. It also has to dip below, or if it doesn't. So like this one, as of this minute, does not qualify. But if this one does dip below somewhere in the 76.48 zone, then it's now on the list to qualify, and we could trade it, because now it's starting to break in active hours lower than yesterday's candle. We have 5 more minutes. Any other tickers that you guys want to take a look at, we could pull those up. Otherwise, the SPY itself is starting to get, on a 5-minute chart, a little bit above the 10 EMA. Again, SPY is hanging in there. Qs look a little bit trappier for the bulls. I'd be seeing if we get some kind of a little bit of a bounce, retest, something like that. That would, besides that, I mean, everything else looks pretty weak. But that would give us better spots to look to go short. I still want to lean short in this market. I don't think trends on really anything that we've looked at has changed. It just comes down to, where can I throw out my trades that gives me the best risk reward, meaning that If I get stopped, I lose the R, but if I'm correct, those things have the ability to run. That's even when I look at the 10 EMA strategy or any real strategy that I take, I'm not, for me personally, I just don't blindly jump in and say, I'm going to buy here because the candle looks pretty. If to the downside, I'm only going to potentially make half an R of risk before it comes into, or I get stopped out for an R, right? So even if I'm like, yeah, I can see it, I can see myself making some money on it, it doesn't mean I really want to jump in on that trade. Because if I'm doing that, my P&L long term is going to be shot. By the way, we still have all the mentor groups that are available. They start in July. I do have 2 that are running this month. So one, we're just going through regular typical strategies. The other one we are going through, it's for funded account specific. So if you guys have a funded account and you're trying to get into the past the audition stage and make some real money from the funded accounts, that's the one I would highly suggest for anybody holding or interested in a funded account. That would be the one. We're going to go through specific strategies as to because that the platform is a little bit different. There's also rules. Like you guys can trade the open market right now with your accounts, and you have your rules in place as to what you can trade or what not, and all that stuff. When it comes to the funded account, not only do you have your rules on the books, but obviously the people that are funding the accounts, they have rules in place to help protect their revenue as well. So you kind of have to, you might have to adjust some of your style of trading a little bit and all that. So that is the purpose. The entire goal of that mentor group is to get people funded for get them past the audition stage and get them set up correctly to use the broker, be able to manage those trades, be able to lock in some serious gainage. DG, is that Dollar General, has a gap and go bearish. Yeah, we are still stacked on Dollar General. Very few stocks look like this, but we do have a very very bullish sentiment with all of the moving averages on a daily that we were actually above. So just watch out for that. You on this one, most things you're going with the trend in a bearish direction. This one you're actually going counter trend longer term. Lots of support, yeah. But if we pull up, how much time do I have left? Like 50 seconds. That's enough. DG, let me get some levels for you just in case. Yeah, so about 238.99 is where I would be looking to take some serious partials, if not a lot. Ultimately, in a longer term picture, probably 228.31 would be a target. That's really where your heaviest volume comes in, but there's going to be a lot of bounces in between that. So just be careful on that one. It does look a little bit different than the rest of the market at this point. Looks like a lot of things we were getting a little bit of a bounce pre-market. We have 10 seconds left. YouTube land, I gotta say goodbye. Make sure you guys hit that like, thumbs up button, whatever the case it is, because that just helps my ego more than anything. Also, YouTube did put a new algorithm in that like button too. So if you do hit that one, you pretty much automatically get a positive trading day. It's just very weird how it works. But YouTube, I will catch you guys all tomorrow. Later, guys.